Hey Wolfpack, welcome back. On to the topic at hand. Why do we keep checking our credits? Right. So you might be thinking that, and there's a lot of reasons. One of them is we want you guys to develop good habits. Okay. So let me explain a little bit about habits and how they work, and then I'll explain how it pertains to what we're doing here. Okay. So habits. So this information I'm going to talk about comes from a book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Good book. Okay. I'll start with a statistic. So in 2006, Duke University found that 40% of the actions people perform in a day are not actually decisions, but are habits. Okay, so think about that. 40% of the things that people do every day, they do without thinking. They do them automatically. Almost half of the things that we do each day, we do without thinking. That's a lot. To me, I was really surprised. I thought, wow, humans are supposed to be like these brilliant creatures with these awesome brains that can do all this thinking, but we don't do it all the time. The more I read it, the more it made sense. And I'll try and explain it for you here, right? So, thinking requires energy and focus. Decision making requires energy and focus. Habits don't require thinking and they don't require decision making because they're automatic. Okay. So, habits are our brain's way of saving energy and being more efficient. Okay. So, there's actually something that Charles Duhigg called the habit loop. There's a trigger, there's a response, and there's a reward. So if we think about it in a really basic sense with a dog, right? Say I've got a dog and I want to teach him to sit. So the trigger is the word sit. When I say sit, I want him to sit down, and that's the response. Now the reward usually starts with a treat, right? So you got a puppy, sit, and then you make them sit. Once they sit, the response is right, then you give them the reward. Okay. So the way that works is the trigger, the word sit, makes the puppy start thinking about like, oh, the reward. What do I need to do to get the reward? Oh, that's right. I sit down. Boom. So sit is the trigger. The dog sitting is the response, and the reward is the treat. Sit, trigger. The dog sits, response, gets a treat, reward. Right. So that's the habit loop. So the way dog training works is you do that over and over and over again. Right. So the dog hears sit, the dog sits, the dog gets a treat. Eventually, you get rid of the treats and you just pet them. You give them praise, right? So you say sit, that's the trigger. The dog sits, that's the response, and you pet it and it gets this love and affection, and that's its reward. And you do that over and over and over again, right? And soon enough, the dog has done that so many times, they've built those connections in their mind and strengthened them so much because they've practiced so many times that when a dog hears sit, it no longer thinks about I want to sit to get a reward. The dog hears sit, and it is this automatic thing that happens. That's a habit, right? And so now a dog's sitting when he hears the word sit without the reward because he doesn't think about it anymore. He's conditioned to sit when he hears the word sit. That's the way a habit works. It's just slightly different with humans, but that same cycle is what happens. So, on to why habits are important for what we're doing now. Okay. It's important to know how you're doing in your classes. You have to, you can't hide from it. If you're not doing great, you need to know that. If you are doing great, you should know that because you're doing great. Okay. So the credit cutoffs are our points where that should be our trigger. Credit cutoff 3 just happened. I need to go check to see if I need to go see if I earn my credits, right? And hopefully that reward is you earned your credits. Okay, so the trigger is a credit cutoff. Our response should be, I need to go make sure that I got my credits. And the reward hopefully will be, yeah, I've got my credits. And if you don't, your reward will be, I need to make up this assignment and this assignment so that I can earn my credits, right? Talk through that with your teachers.